Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of What Do You Need to Know to Live in Costa Rica? Today, we're talking about what it means to be a good immigrant to this country. That is right. This is a topic that has been top of mind for us for a while to do a video on, so we're excited to do it. I am Patrick Jager, joined as always by my good friend and business partner, Mr. Aaron Bailey. Hello, Mr. Bailey.
Buenos dias, Patrick.
Buen dia.
Buen dia.
Okay, so this is a topic that I think it's been top of mind for us as we've been kind of revamping our thoughts as a company. That there are things that if we want to celebrate being in this country, if we want to do right by our Costa Rican neighbors and other international neighbors that are here, if we want to truly adapt and adopt Costa Rica and not live separate from, we have a bunch of things that we think are really important. And today we're going to go through those.
But before we do that, Patrick, let's
Yes,
remind everyone that we would really greatly appreciate your thumbs up on this video, subscribing to our channel, sharing with your friends, commenting. We're building this community organically, and we would really value your input in it.
And with that, speaking of input, the question that started this whole kind of rethinking of us off was the following. Have you ever thought about the difference between being an expat and an immigrant? And we put in our March Q&A, we put this all started with a comment that we got from a Tico viewer of our content. And it really got us thinking. A lot of people come here seeking a better life, but they don't really think about what that means. And they don't think about the fact that to have a better life in Costa Rica, you need to adopt the life of Costa Rica and not be separate from it. And not everyone is cut out for that, and everybody wants that. And so really, we think, personally, that we have enough people in this country that want to stay removed from. We want to grow a community of people that want to become a part of.
And I think it's important to note that if I were moving from Michigan, where I grew up, to California, I too would also want to adjust my perspective and my posture to living in California. It's a very different world there. Moving to Costa Rica is extenuating that. That's the correct word. It's really because it's such a different culture, it's a different people, it's a different government. And it's really important for you to not only to think about yourself in that new environment, but also how can you really truly be healthy and contribute to that culture.
I think the best place to start is the fact that the language we use matters. We really want to encourage people to know the difference between an expat and an immigrant. We are expats from where we lived. We have expatriated from, but we are an immigrant to here. And there's a big difference. Expat tends to talk about, it connotes privilege. I'm an expat. I have a lot of money and I live on the beach and I hang with my other expat friends and, blah, blah, blah. That is a connotation of expat. It implies privilege. It implies enclave, right? But immigrant recognizes that we have chosen to move to a country for a reason. We have chosen to move for a better life than what we had before. Better life for us. We are not going to move to Costa Rica to have a shitty life. We're going to move here to have a better life. We have immigrated here by choice. And acknowledging that, I think it goes a long way. We have the privilege of being able to move. Not everybody has that privilege. We have the privilege, but with that privilege comes expectation.
And just being in Costa Rica affects Costa Rica, right? It's the Gringo Dilemma. Just by simply being here, we take up space. And the question that I want to ask myself is, am I taking up space that is good for the country and my neighbors or bad? And just simply thinking through that on a regular basis, I think helps you to be a good immigrant to Costa Rica.
And by the way, I think what we mean by that is multiple fold. I live in a gated community. I moved to a gated community because I found a house that really fit us, and because initially this was going to be just a part-time residence. My very Western brain said, I need a gate, I need a guard, I need all this stuff. I totally disagree with that now, but that was where my brain was at. I didn't have a Your Puerto Vida to give me any context to this, but to each his own. But this gated community was a farm. They dislocated the farmers, but we're talking a few farmers, not we took over an entire community on the coast and have gentrified it to the point that no one local can live there. This is an isolated plot of land. So when we think about that, it's things like that. Have we, by shopping at Auto Mercado because we want the very best, we want the most American, are we jacking up prices for everybody? This is not a guilt trip, by the way. We're not trying to say any of this to feel guilty. I'm very proud of being an immigrant to this country. It's having, Aaron's right. If you always kind of remind yourself that you are not entitled. We all come here saying we can do it better than they can. Banking system is horrible. If only they would listen to us. They are not going to listen to you. Gringos come and go, and we need to integrate into their system. So having this mind shift change that you are not the center of attention. You are an immigrant to this country. You are not the savior of this country. Nuance matters.
So let's talk about that specifically. What does that mean to be a really good neighbor? I think it first starts out with just respect. Respecting that you are a guest in this country, and that comes with some expectations. Learning Spanish. My Spanish is still really cringy, but learning the simple basics of hello, goodbye, how are you doing, and just attempting to learn Spanish, attempting to speak Spanish goes a long ways towards respecting Costa Ricans. Embracing customs, embracing how they work, and not trying to force our mindset, our North American mindset on our neighbors. And not, as you said, not trying to fix things. You know, the banking system is the banking system. We can't change that. It's important to just adapt and learn how to work within the system.
I mean, a good way to think about it, it's different by design. They didn't just wake up one day and decide that this is how a bank's going to work. It's different by design. It works for them. It works. And the more you get that, or don't try to fight it, but banking is a good place to go into just economic impact. How you spend matters. You know, do you support local businesses, or do you go to the local soda, or do you go to McDonald's? Do you go to the local grocery store in the central market, a local food stand, or do you go only to Walmart to shop? How you spend matters. Do you hire local, and do you pay fair wages? You know, there's a lot of gringos that will say, oh, we got gringo gouged. They've charged us more because we're gringos. That does happen. That happens also in the States. That happens everywhere. Have you ever been to a used car lot? They know who to ask for more money. But are you trying to hire local? And do you pay fair wages? You know, one of the things that people don't realize here, if you have if you have a cleaning lady that you employ, it is expected that you pay them 13th month. So if they worked for you for 12 months, part of the Costa Rican employment is that you then pay a 13th month of rent prorated by how many months they worked for you at the end of the year. Are you doing that? Or are you like, oh, no, I just pay them under the table so I don't have to do that? Do you tip? Like, thinking through these things, are you being fair, or are you trying to take advantage of? And then the other thing I would say on economic impact is just gentrification. We talked about this before. Are you driving up prices by the way by your actions or reactions? And a lot of this is subtle. If you demand a certain thing and it costs more money, A, do you need that? And B, how does that affect others? And again, we're not trying to be preachy, we're just giving you some thoughts.
I think the other big point here, Patrick, is integrating yourself into culture and community. It's really, really easy to move here and just hang out with gringos and North Americans. Like, we see that all the time. And at first, maybe you need to do that. But be very intentional about interacting with, befriending, and really investing in relationships with Costa Ricans. Your life is going to be so much more fuller and more beautiful if you do that versus just simply sticking in that gringo bubble.
You've done that so well.
Thank you. Yeah, it's taken years. It's taken years for me to really make some good community of Costa Rican friends, but it's been worth it. And I think my life here is much better because of it. We're all in our own journey, so I won't judge anyone else, but I would really encourage you to think through who you're befriending, and just having a posture of contributing. Don't show up here and approach life as you're the savior, that you're going to come and fix things, change things, that you know better. Be humble and seek to just walk lightly here. Volunteer, contribute to in your community, see problems in your community and see how, and ask people how you can help. I think that's really important. And it goes without saying, but follow the laws. You've got to be compliant with immigration laws, business laws, respecting land, respecting even traffic laws, which is sometimes hard. But don't be that asshole North American who comes in and thinks that they're above the law. Really seek to respect what's happening here, even if you might disagree with it.
So it's a responsibility moving abroad. And I'm going to just put this analogy out there. When someone moves to the States, an immigrant moves to the States, do we not expect this of them? Or moves to Canada, do we not expect this of them? That they are going to integrate into our society, that they're going to integrate into our laws, that they're not going to live apart from, culturally apart from. I mean, there's a reason there's a Chinatown. There's a reason that I love my heritage and I love supporting my heritage, but there's a difference between cultural diversity and not integrating into the system. So we need to expect the same for us. The responsibility of moving abroad, I think, is kind of the next big thing. This is not a utopia. It's a real country. There are real challenges. So you need to think, are you okay with bureaucracy? Are you okay with things being just a slower process? Are you okay with cultural differences? If you are not okay with any of those, this is probably not the right place with you. If you come in expecting that it's going to be like North America or it's going to be like Europe, but with better weather, you're going to be frustrated because it's not. You can't compare Costa Rica to those places any more than you can compare Costa Rica to Mexico or Panama. They're not the same country. They're very different countries. And part of that is you need to think of yourself, why are you moving here? We really talk about this as ethical relocation and the idea of, are you moving for the right intentions? If what you want is just to pull a geographic, you don't like something at home, you want to get away from your parents or your ex or whatever. If the reason you're moving here is the intention of moving away from versus coming to, you're also going to have a problem integrating because you're going to perpetually be comparing yourself to where you were moving from. How you move, why you're willing to adapt. This is what's going to separate those that come here and live in those expat bubbles from those that integrate and become part of Costa Rica. We believe in the latter.
Absolutely. So let's talk about who maybe should move here or consider moving here and who shouldn't. I think this comes down to, this might be the right place for you if you are open-minded and willing to adapt and to be flexible and to, seek to really be open to change. If you want to contribute and not just consume, and if you respect the culture and the way of life in Costa Rica.
Yeah, the flip side of that, if you're unwilling to learn Spanish or adapt, if you're like, everyone here, most people speak English, so I'll just speak English. It might not be right for you. If you expect things to work like they do in North America or Europe, it's probably not right for you long term. And if you want a cheap lifestyle without engaging with the locals, if you want to be able to stay cheap and separate, we'd say this is not the right place for you.
So I think overall, Patrick, the key here is, if you are willing to shift your mindset, The moving abroad is not just a lifestyle change. It's really an identity shift. It's about who you are as an individual and as a family. That is key.
Yeah. The second point I would say is ask yourself, if am I coming here to build a house to live, or am I coming here to build a community? There's a lot of homes, huge homes above Dominical. Are they integrating the community, or are they just jacking up the prices? Not trying to make a judgment, I'm just making an example. So why are you coming here? If everything that we're saying, you're nodding and saying, yeah, I totally agree, and that's exactly why we're moving there. Oh my gosh, great, please come. We would love to work with you, and we'd love to have you as neighbors. If you're like, I really just want to live in an expat bubble on the beach, well, see you at the beach.
We would love your discussion on this. Leave us a comment. Let us know what your thoughts are on being a good neighbor. Do you consider yourself an expat, or do you consider yourself an immigrant? That conversation can often get heated online, so let's do this in a respectful way. But really let us know what your thoughts are. How are you choosing to integrate into Costa Rica? How are you choosing to contribute and support Costa Rica and Costa Ricans? We would absolutely love to have that conversation in the comments.
Unbelievably so. We really love this country, and we have taken that whole journey from we are better than, we are apart from, we know what we're doing. I mean, even this company has changed on what we were offering to begin with versus now, because we've seen what we can do to benefit those that are thinking of moving here. And we love that. We also know that these are our opinions, and we respect the fact that you might not agree with those opinions, and that everyone is on their own journey. But the fact that you're willing to have the conversation with us, the fact that you've watched this for this long, we thank you. We hope that this has helped. It helps us. It helps us formulate more in our head and reiterate why we're here and why what we're doing is valuable. And for that, we're very thankful.
Absolutely. We are thankful. Shoot us an email if you have any questions or would love to talk with us more. Hola at yourpuravida.com. Go to our website, yourpuravida.com/links. Bunch of information there on our services, our blog posts, our other videos. This has been a great video. I hope this has prompted you to maybe think a little bit more about how you can be a better neighbor in Costa Rica. And until next time, Patrick Jager, Pura Vida.